Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Good morning, Bryan College Station. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers inside the Rollo Insurance Studios. It's a much better looking go hour this morning. Ryan Broninger in the host chair. To my left, the mustached Luke Evangelist, who came in here giggling for no reason.
As I usually do.
As he often does. We will be here with you through the remainder of this 8 o'clock hour. Got a busy show for you. Once I kick Luke out of here, 9 o'clock, we will welcome in former Texas A&M infielder John Scheschuk. A lot going on with the baseball portal. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into Barry Enright has arrived at Texas A&M, his first day on the job. We'll talk to Sesh. After Sesh, we'll talk to Justin Seeley, former Texas A&M baseball coach, now a professional scout with the Arizona Diamondbacks, along with just a really active member of the baseball community. A lot of connections in the baseball world. We'll talk to Coach Seeley. We have Andrew Monaco coming in, the voice of the Aggies at 9:35. Kay Naegeli will wrap us up in the 9 o'clock hour. We saw Jamie Morrison, as we do every day, in the intro to TexAgs Live. The guy's gone on a heater. Everybody's cruiting right now.
Right.
Mike Elko's cruiting. Mike Early's cruiting. Jamie Morrison's cruiting. See if Bucky's doing any cruiting right now. But we'll get into all that. 10 o'clock hour, we have Jason Howell, recruiting country. Speaking of cruiting, Mike Elko and company got some real momentum now with some of their top targets that are heading into decisions. So we will look at the latest with Jason Howell, and then our final guest of the show, actually two more guests, Kendall Rogers from Omaha, Men's College World Series. We'll talk a little bit about that ahead of time, but we'll get Kendall's thoughts from Omaha. And then we wrap the show with Kaylee Dreyer and Sydney Clevenger. And I think I'm going to be drinking some coconut milk.
You can say the actual name. You remember it.
I do remember it. The name of the company is called Good Nut.
Right.
This is not a joke. This is Tom Brady's coconut milk, coconut water company that he has stamped his name on. I don't know how much of the R&D Tom Brady actually did, or if somebody come to him with an idea and he just paid to put his name on it.
Right.
That is typically how these celebrity, whether they're like celebrity, Chris Stapleton's got his Traveler whiskey or whatever. Like every celebrity's kind of putting their name. Like Shaq was the one that did it the most.
Yeah.
Put their name on stuff. So that is going to be the bit today to close this show. You know, every time I host TexAgs Live, it's difficult for me now with the completely unprofessional program in the afternoon that I host, the B Team. It's hard for me to flip the switch sometimes to a buttoned up professional radio show, live show that David hosts every day. And David's got some real, he's got some standards for the program. Right. Whereas in the afternoon, it's kind of a free-for-all.
Well, speaking of buttoned up, I see you wore your nice buttoned up T-shirt today.
Every day. That's the one thing that you can bet on with me is I'm going to be consistently dressed the exact same.
Yeah.
Like I'm
For
getting
those
ready
who
to
don't
go.
know, this is actually what he wore to his own wedding.
That's not true.
Shorts and a T-shirt.
That's not true. I wish I could have. My feet were hurting so bad, and I was so sweaty. And I got married in January. It was frigid cold that day. So cold. But
at least it wasn't a fall wedding. That would have been
not a fall wedding.
You can't have a fall wedding.
And I just went to a wedding last weekend on Saturday at the Aston Mansion in Bryan, and beautiful ceremony. And the couple were super happy. They're friends of ours. It was great. It was a little warm.
Yeah.
And by the time the ceremony was done, there were some folks that needed a change of clothes.
Needed an extra.
Me included.
Yeah, we know.
So let's go around the room, introduce everybody in the show, producing the show, calling balls and strikes. As he does on the B team, Cade, we've got to leave our low-level humor, our immaturity behind for the next 3 hours and lock in.
No, I think we can do that for sure. I don't think that should be an issue.
Where is Reese Nygren? Because that is part of our
Reese Nygren's
problem.
in the back. He's doing his job. So
what does that mean?
Well, he's gonna be busy getting YouTube shorts ready, getting some clips ready, all that.
Are we sure
stuff.
we want to clip anything from this show? Are we sure?
No, we are. Well, this is going to be a good show, Luke. Don't drag us down that way. In the Good Bull. Boy, that's been a long time ago. Let me tell you what, that's a big time callback.
Barney, where were you last night?
No, at home. I was feeding the baby like normal. Good Bull Barbecue. Boy, that was Roy May's barbecue business. That was right down the shopping center here.
You know, you said Good Bull, and Sidney Clevenger and Kaylee Dreyer
about
just
to bust
walked
through the door like the Kool-Aid man. In the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, Ashley Munson. Ashley, good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Was her mic on? Now it is. How are you?
Is it on? Yes, now it is.
We were talking before the show,
yes.
Ashley, that you are trying to learn more sports so you are more and more comfortable on air. How do you feel like your progression is going in your internship at this company, which is a sports company, which we should be providing you the tools to help you learn more?
Yes, honestly, I think my confidence is a lot better. I think I'm able to like research better and kind of like know where I'm supposed to kind of go and like find actual facts that are like super important. I think I've definitely gotten just like I said, better at just making notes and prepping and doing the research.
More confident on air as well?
Yes, I think so.
Well, the intern group has been given a pretty sizable task here.
Yes.
As the full-time group gets ready to go to SEC Media Days, one of the projects, and I don't know whose idea this was, but to kind of help the interns along, they have been prepping packets for SEC Media Days. Mm-hmm. And I think the head of that project is Matthew Dawson. Is that right, Kate?
It is a Matthew Dawson special. That's correct.
And that sounds like a Matthew Dawson special. Like
he
everybody
loves a good spreadsheet.
He loves a spreadsheet. He's going to ask Ashley and all the other interns to dive into the depth chart so they can know height, weight, star rating of Alabama's third string tight end.
Right, very important.
And Tennessee's deep snapper.
Yep.
That's what Matthew Dawson does.
He lives for that. He lives there's just this itch in his brain that he can't scratch without a packet or a spreadsheet or a Prize Picks promo.
There you go.
He's just got something in his brain.
If he can find it on Kalshi, he needs to know about it.
Well, hold on. Whoa. Kalshi does not pay any money to the good folks at TexAgs. Prize Picks is
first.
Official,
right,
yes.
Okay, but he's looking for odds anywhere he can get them.
Absolutely.
And in fact, we are trying to, with unsaid name of company that we just referred to, we are trying to maybe cook the books a little bit. Let me give you this. So there is a person that works here that has started to have an affinity for taking their shirt off at sporting events.
Right.
Okay.
Are you speaking in like third person?
We're just talking in generalities. There's somebody here that likes to take their shirt off at sporting events.
Right.
Can we create a market for that? Like, will there be somebody tarps off in left field at the Houston Astros game tonight? And then we send said person to Houston Astros game, pump him full of some liquid confidence.
Okay.
And we win a bet.
See, I think the moment that happens, they're going to refer to this clip and we're both going to get...
Nobody's watching.
You're right. How many viewers do we have? There's 3.5 viewers on the YouTube page.
The internet is a permanent place. This will live forever.
I think I've always wondered how people who, if they streak at the Super Bowl, did they place like a 10K bet that there was going to be a streak? Because I would do that. If I'm going to jail, like let's be real, if I'm going to jail for streaking at the Super Bowl, let me at least make some money off of it, because there exists lines for will there be a streaker. I don't know about like a random Houston Astros game, but for the Super Bowl, there's always one. Now the question is, are they going to make it on the field? Security has been pretty tight the last few years.
Have you checked on this? By the way, I don't think you would do well, even if it's a night in jail.
No,
you're not the guy that I would think.
I wouldn't enjoy jail, but let's say I got 5-1 odds that there'd be a streaker at the Super Bowl. I'd put my life savings on it and just do it myself. What would my bail be? I don't have any...
They would take that. Like, I don't know anything about
I don't have any prior convictions. Like, I'd probably get, I don't know, maybe 6 months probation.
You'd have to bet through somebody that they couldn't trace it back to you.
You're right. Okay. You're right. So I'm
going to. Like maybe Kay Bickham places the bet for you.
You're right. That's a good idea. We would have to unfollow each other on social media and
have like some public fight, like some public outburst against each other where it's caught on camera where you hate each other. We could stage this whole thing.
Or I could just, make a new account under Adrian Rodriguez at texas.edu and, bet it there.
Or Brendan Sorsby at TTU.edu. And that's a good segue into what is going to dominate a lot, or what has been dominating a lot of the sports discussion this summer. Thank God for Brendan Sorsby as we try to navigate the calendar between May and August before fall camp starts for football. Brendan Sorsby, this whole saga, and we've talked about it a little bit on B Team, but for Texas Tech to really lay their neck out there for this kid, they did. And the 20-minute video where it was the Texas Tech leadership trying to save their integrity and the integrity of Brendan Sorsby and really publicly back this kid and all the hoops that they've jumped through, all the money that they've spent, not only on him to get him to Texas Tech, but also to defend him and provide him with lawyers to fight this stuff in court. And then for him to just pull the plug. Now, I don't think Brendan Sorsby called Joey McGuire and said, hey, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I think that was a lot of conversations from some higher ups, perhaps as high up as government officials.
Right.
But for this to end the way it has, first of all, it's the right thing that has happened.
Yep.
But Texas Tech could have absolved themselves of the whole public backlash. They could have actually put themselves in a really good light here because Brendan Sorsby didn't do anything wrong in Lubbock.
Correct.
There was nothing that he did illegally on gambling on sports that happened at Texas Tech. The accusation that you can lay at their feet before all this happened was you didn't do the legwork. You didn't do the homework to find out everything you could about a guy that you were paying supposedly $5 million. You didn't do the homework beforehand, and so now you're strapped with this. But once you find out, if you just go, hey, man, we can't do this. Like, this is the one rule, that the one line you can't cross, you've crossed it. And we can't do that. We got to let you go. Everybody in the country, you would have taken barbs for you didn't do your homework, you paid this guy all this money, sure. But in the end, people would have patted you on the back for saying, hey, you know what? You had to eat that cost, but you did the right thing.
Right.
Instead, you went on a barnstorming campaign to say that this guy's a victim of the system. That letter that Cody Campbell wrote, in which he misspelled alma mater.
I didn't read that.
That's so on the nose for a Texas Tech grad. But he misspelled.
Probably went to Lubbock Christian. Go ahead.
No, Cody Campbell did not. For sure, he did not go to Lubbock Christian. But their response to this has now, they've got a big old crap sandwich they got to eat.
Yeah. The PR took a turn when it went from, all right, we're getting this kid help. We're checking him into rehab. He's working on himself. He's got a real problem. We're getting him help, to then, wait, hold on. Come back out of rehab. We got to get you cleared. We got to get you eligibility. It was just a little bit too quick of a switch to go from, we're doing this the right way. I think it was positive PR for them of like, hey, he messed up. We're getting him the help he needs. But then a week later, it's like, wait, no, we definitely need him eligible. Let's get him out of rehab. Let's get him back eligible. Let's fight this battle with the NCAA. Let's go to court. Let's get all these lawyers. They definitely overplayed their hand just a little bit. And I think Texas Tech enjoys being the villain. I think they were playing into that with the 20-minute video, defending themselves, dying on that video.
Do you think this was a bit, or do you think they were desperation?
I wouldn't say it's desperation, but I just think Texas Tech enjoys being the villain, and this was another situation where they can say, all right, we're sticking it to everybody else. We're getting this guy eligible one way or another if we have to fight it through court, only for it to completely fall apart. And I agree that I don't think it was Sorsby saying he was done. I think it was more so, we can't go on any further. It's time to maybe hit the road.
Yeah, the PR hit was too bad. I do think Texas Tech really enjoys whatever you view their new role in college sports as.
Yeah.
Like villain, fine. Scrooge McDuck, fine. Whatever that you think, like they are at a different level than they were 5 years ago.
Right.
No question. And they enjoy that. And they've made no bones about how they got there. Cody Campbell has turned into their spokesperson. He's like the chair of their board of regents. Like he is their mouthpiece. And he's put his money where his mouth is with Texas Tech athletics. But I do think it's a little bit of desperation. Like if you really and truly cared about this kid, you send him to rehab for as long as it takes, not some short program, and then you tell him, hey, we can't play you until you show, some sort of progressive behavior toward being rid of this addiction. Yeah. That's how you help him. But what you did now looks performative.
Because I don't know a rehab that only takes 4 days. I don't know about y'all, but...
Right, it looks performative now, doesn't it? Like it looks like we only did this to make ourselves look better and potentially get our quarterback to return and be able to play. If I'm Will Hammond, who was the backup, who's coming off of this injury...
Thank goodness you're not Will Hammond, because you'd have only one functioning ACL.
Let's see how desperate they get to get him healthy. They sent him to the doctor. There was a Spanish soccer player, Brazilian-born Spanish soccer player named Diego Costa. Remember that? Mm-hmm. That guy? Before one of the World Cups with Spain, supposedly, allegedly, he had a hamstring injury. That wasn't alleged. But allegedly, he got sent to a doctor to inject him with horse placenta to make the injury heal quicker. Maybe the Texas Tech team is now looking for that doctor somewhere in the world
for sure
to send Will Hammond to inject his knee with horse placenta.
And whatever Lamine Yamal got to recover in a month, they're gonna probably inject him with that
same doctor.
Well. Could be
that same doctor.
Know.
But if I'm Will Hammond and all this stuff happens and like they're acting like I'm chopped liver.
Well, he is, but
no, he's not a bad player. Like
I mean,
if
they have aspirations to not just go 11-0 or 12-0 in the Big 12 and then actually score.
Have you looked at we looked at their schedule on B team.
It's not about what they do in the Big 12. I'm saying to take that next step in the college football playoff and win a game, I think it might take more than Will Hammond. That's all I'm saying.
And we don't know that Brennan Sorsby was going to be that guy. Hey, this is a guy that turned the ball over quite a bit last year. Really good talent. It'll be interesting to see who takes a gamble on him in the NFL. But this whole situation has been, I'm glad it's kind of like an all's well that ends well in terms of the integrity of college football and the integrity of the sport. That is the one line in this world of just complete barbaric behavior. Everything's allowed. There are no rules. We have to draw the line at least somewhere. And if the line got past sports betting, which by the way, we really haven't from, a local judge, the precedent still is you can gamble on sports and still play. I mean, that's what Correct. The local court ruled, but the public pressure and probably the pressure from the higher ups have nixed this to where even though it was ruled eligible in court, or at least he got his hearing pushed back after the season where he could have played, I think now that a public line has been drawn, saying we can't allow this.
Yeah, the outrage was just too much, and I think basketball has really been pushing that envelope with who they can get eligible and who they can't, and so I'll be interested to see when everything boils over with, for A&M terms, the team to watch is LSU with half their roster needing to be eligible, and so I'm interested to see how much attention that's going to get when they ultimately lose eligibility from the NCAA, but then have to fight for it in court. I wonder if we're going to see similar outrage for Will Wade bringing in 26.
Let's stop there. Let's drop it there. We'll come back and we'll talk about that because A&M still, with Bryson Warren, we'll get an update on that, where his eligibility concerns stand. A&M baseball. We're awaiting an announcement from Jake Dewar, who is looking for another year of eligibility as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. We'll get into Luke's specialty Aggie basketball too. On the other side of the break, here on TexAgs Live on a Wednesday morning, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it.
We're rolling right along on a Wednesday morning. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. I've been in an island mood a little bit. Stuck inside the Rollo Insurance Studios. During the summer, I am working. This is not a job, but we are working. But I feel like if I get into July, I'll have a little bit more free time. Won't get to go back to St. Thomas, my favorite place on earth. But I've been digging on the island vibes to like put me in vacation mode a little bit.
Yeah, I'll get an occasional itch to just escape and go to a beach in Mexico. But then I remember I already used up all my PTO on my trip to a continent that will not be named because I don't want to bring up the trip on here.
Why?
Because you're going to make fun of me for
No, guilty conscience. That sounds like I wasn't even going to bring it. You voluntarily brought it up. Congratulations. Now we'll talk about it.
No, we don't have to. I'm just saying, I've been on an island vibe too. I've been missing the beach. You know, the pools in College Station just don't do it.
Beaches in Europe, do they have an island vibe? Like, you don't get that type of reggae.
No, I wouldn't say that. Barcelona's got a nice...
Barcelona.
Nice beach vibe to it. Speaking of Barcelona, Spain, if you want to talk World Cup.
Well, an incredible... Like,
do you ever feel like... You know how at my age I'll be like, man, there's some 18-year-old doing something crazy. I've done nothing with my life. I can't believe this kid who's younger than me is scoring all these goals at the World Cup. And then you look up and Cape Verde's goalie's 40 and he's doing that. Do you ever feel like maybe you might be due for like a second breakout?
I don't feel like that at all. But it has been cool to see these smaller nations like Curacao, when they scored against Germany, celebrated like they won the game. They lost 7-1. It is very much a ribbon ceremony for some of these countries that are there. But Cape Verde drawing Spain, it's weird how, you know, on social media, they're calling it one of the biggest upsets in the history of the World Cup. And I'm like, Cape Verde didn't win the game. It was a draw. And I understand that the odds still for a draw were probably outrageous. I had to call Matthew Dawson about that.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I like the phrase upset when you didn't win the game.
I think upset is fair. When it's of that magnitude and it's like world ranked number 2 against, and this is not for the meme, I'm pretty sure they are ranked 67th in the world. When it's that big of an upset, I feel like everybody was expecting Spain to roll 4-0. And when you tie, and it wasn't just, I know there's soccer people out there that are, or non-soccer people out there that are like, oh, it was a 0-0 tie. It wasn't even an interesting game.
It was
probably
incredibly
wasn't worth
entertaining.
watching.
Yeah.
I will say that was one of the most exciting 0-0 games you'll ever see. And it's fun to root for the underdog, and there's no better like opportunity for an underdog to thrive than on the world stage, which is why I love the World Cup.
The World Cup has been a huge hit. This has been a massive success through the first week and a half of the competition. The publicity that the country has gotten, the country being the United States of America, the positive feel, the positive vibe, just the overall positive PR that has come from the tourists from all over the world experiencing America, and maybe what they're seeing with their eyes is different than what they're told on their television screens in their home country. I think we're seeing a lot of that. This has been a huge success for soccer in this country so far. I think it's been a huge success for Fox. Them having the rights to it is a big deal. You know, you watch ESPN at night, they can't show any of the highlights. It's just still photos with people talking over them. Fox, this has got to be a huge hit for them. And then it's a huge hit for American PR and what the United States is. And it's making me a little bit like envious and jealous of these people that are getting to travel our entire country for a month to follow their soccer team and go and do all this stuff. But like watching the Scottish fans take over Fenway Park was incredible.
It was beautiful.
It was awesome. And then last night at the Fort Worth Stockyards, you had all the England fans watching the rodeo at Billy Bob's. Like that's such a culture shock, I'm sure, for both sides. And there's this weird juxtaposition but it kind of all melds together and people are just really enjoying themselves. And what I said yesterday on B Team is it makes you believe that we're not as divided as the news will tell you that we are.
Yeah.
And that sports is the perfect avenue. It's so apolitical that you can go and sit down at Kyle Field or at Bluebell Park or at Reed Arena, or you could go watch the U.S. men's national team play in Los Angeles, and you could be sitting next to somebody that is completely different from you in every way, shape, or form. but you're pulling for the same team. And in those moments, you don't care what side of the political aisle they sit on. You don't care about their background. All you care is that you're there pulling for your team. And I think in these moments that we've seen across the World Cup, and especially when the U.S. played against Paraguay, and the way they played, and it was captivating. And I think there's a lot more fringe soccer fans, or maybe even people that had never had never really watched the sport, that are now like, hey, this is kind of sick. Like, this is kind of cool. I'm in on it. The celebrities that were surrounding the game, the reaction on the internet from talking heads across the sports world, across the sports scene, everybody has come together on this, and it's been really, really cool. This has been a huge success for soccer in this country, and I think the country in general.
I completely agree, because this is what sports is all about, is bringing people together. And we can root for different teams, different countries, but at the end of the day, it's all about coming together to watch a sport that you love. And watching people on Twitter document how, like, Golden Corral is the best food they've ever had.
I saw one about Olive Garden. This lady's going nuts over Olive Garden.
It's like, it's so funny to have things in America that you kind of just take for granted, and you're like, you know what? I'm not in the mood for Olive Garden today. But to other people, that's like groundbreaking food. It's cool to share, even though Olive Garden isn't technically American culture, it's Italian. It's chain restaurants. It's places like Buc-ee's. It's venues like Fenway Park, and that
the Germans
German
were going
guy,
nuts over NRG Stadium, which isn't even a top 20 stadium in the NFL.
That we take for granted, or that their own owners trying to build somewhere else. It's these things that we think are mundane that the European mind, like, quite literally can't comprehend, that this is just normal everyday life for us. And it's cool to share those cultures. Like, not to make it about my trip to Europe, but I got
twice in this segment.
I got to experience a little bit of that, going over there and experiencing European football, how we experience the passion for college football here. And it's fun just to see people coming together simply because a random guy's wearing your favorite team's jersey on the street. It's really cool to see now Europeans and people from all over the world come over here and bring their culture. Like, I am just eating up every single video of Scottish fans that I can find, of them having this Airbnb and cooking sausages with some neighbor, them taking over that boat and they're singing the remix from Freed from Desire, them taking over Fenway Park. Like, I just think that it's beautiful to watch other countries come over here and share their culture here, and what better way to have positive PR for the U.S. and than the World Cup.
We're up against the break, but it was, you had the Ivory Coast fans and the Ecuador fans tailgating, which they'd never done before, playing flip cup against each other. And then you watch Lionel Messi score 3 goals last night, and you see grown men in the crowd weeping, and it gives you a sense of everybody, a lot of people in America know who Lionel Messi is, but he is revered as almost a god in that country, and you got to see it on your home soil last night. It's been a really cool, like, again, a melting pot of everything that has played out right before our eyes, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the tournament. All right, we come back. We are going to get to basketball with Luke, so up against the break, we'll come back, talk hoops with Luke Evangelist here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Hey friends, David Nuno here for the Association of Former Students, and have you checked out the latest issue of the Texas Aggie magazine? The May through June issue is a special Aggie Spirits issue that includes all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. And the team at the Association of Former Students searched far and wide for Aggie-owned businesses, breweries, wineries across the state the country, and even the world. That's right, the globe, baby. And as much as could be found has been compiled into the magazine for the Aggie Network. Now, normally, the Texas Aggie magazine is available only to Century Club members. However, this issue is available to everyone. So to read the issue and explore giving to receive future issues, visit tx.ag/Texas Aggie. That is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Again, don't miss the special Aggie Spirits issue of the Texas Aggie to explore all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. It is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Check it out. Hey everyone, David Nuno of TexAgs Live, and I'm here with Brandon Moreau of Brazos Valley Floor and Design. They're a family-owned business, and Brandon used to work for the A&M football team, the Texans, you name it. Brandon, tell us a little bit about Brazos Valley Floor and Design.
Yeah, like I said, family business. We started in 1999. It was in a small feed store, and about 4 years later, my dad decided he wanted to grow the business and kind of focus on that. So we're in the location we are at now, and we have a large showroom with salespeople with designer experience, a lot of stocking power, and we catered a lot to residential builders, and we do a little commercial work as well.
Tell me about your other company as well, Premier Countertop Design.
Yeah, Premier Countertop Design is right there on site, so it's kind of a one-stop shop. People can come by, they can look at their slabs that they're going to cut, they're going to compare to their cabinet colors, their backsplash that they're going to do at our flooring store, and we have a lot of digital. We're doing a lot of digital stuff. We're templating, water jet, laser measuring, all different things like that.
So tell me a little bit about what sets you guys apart from the rest of the competition.
I think just being here in the community for 27 years in business, and our vendors that we have, the relationships with, the pricing we can get because of how much we can buy in stock and things like that. And then as far as the countertop business, it's just the way we can be precise with what we do.
All right, there you have it, guys. Check out the website, bvflooranddesign.com and premiercountertopdesign.com.
Olin Buchanan's favorite artist of all time, Jimmy Buffett, bringing you back here, 8:39 on a Wednesday morning. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Inside the Rollo Insurance Studios, let's go over to the Angry Elephant, who's in Social Center. Ashley Munson has a question for Luke Evangelist.
Yes, so DW-BTTS says, Luke, since you're here today, can we get an update on Marcus Hill? Ha, ha, ha.
Is that supposed to be a joke?
I don't know. Maybe because I'm just a funny individual, he thought like.
Is there an update on Marcus Hill?
The update is there is no update. Unfortunately, with Marcus Hill and Bryson Warren, the NCAA works in complete mystery. They don't tell anybody if your case is at the front of the stack or at the bottom. And so with both of them, they could get a notification tomorrow from their agent that, hey, the NCAA gave us the paperwork back, you're cleared or you're not cleared. Or it could happen in August. With Rashawn Agee working on a bit of a similar timeline of when they filed the waiver, like you got to create the waiver in advance and then file it. And then it goes into the system of like, okay, the waivers that were filed in the middle of the season are obviously going to get, the NCAA is going to get you a decision before one that's filed in May. So with Bryson Warren, he knew that he was going to take the college route. So he didn't sign any professional contracts, no two ways, and he knew that he wanted to go to college basketball. So his waiver was one that he knew that he was going to do. In addition to Marcus Hill, around January, they knew that they were going to try and get Marcus Hill another year. So with both of them, I'm expecting something in early July is probably by when we would find out. Because with Rashawn Agee, they knew in July that, hey, his waiver got denied. We got to fight it in court. With Marcus Hill, his situation is a little bit less confident. I'm a little bit less confident that he's going to get approved. And even if he does, it's going to be a real discussion between Marcus Hill and Bucky of, look, we've already got this roster filled out with 5 guards that we think can play. And that comes with Jalen Reese, PJ Haggerty, and most likely Bryson Warren getting his waiver. There may not be an opportunity for you to start. Is this where you want to be for your final senior year? Obviously, you'd take Marcus Hill back in a heartbeat, but there has to be a discussion with him of this may not be the place for him to play as much as he wants to. And ultimately, A&M had to fill that spot. A&M had too many guards available in the portal that they really wanted. You can't pass that up on a less than 50-50 chance that Marcus Hill gets approved.
It's insurance,
So A&M had to put themselves in the best possible position, and getting Bryson Warren was obviously a huge part of that. They feel pretty confident that the details on Bryson Warren's situation, I know there's obviously the Charles Bediako situation that everyone's like, I don't know, G League players shouldn't come back to college basketball. That was a situation that happened in the middle of the year with the SEC going against Alabama, and that's why that all blew up. Bryson Warren is just trying to become the 5th player, not the first. This is not groundbreaking, just the 5th G League player to never go to college, go to the G League, never sign a professional contract, and then go to college. And it helps that two of the guys that got eligibility were 20, 2 of them were 21, and 1 of them was 22. So Bryson Warren is 21 years old. He's not the first guy to be 21 and try and get college eligibility. And so they are counting on a favorable decision from the NCAA. I would be very surprised if they had to go to court to fight it. And what we know from Rashawn Agee's situation, from Brendan Sorsby's situation, even if they go to court, A&M's going to win. And Bryson Warren, who would technically be in his senior year of college right now, had he never reclassified and never gone to the G League, they are going to get him on that basketball court one way or another next year. And if they have to go to court, so be it. But I really don't think they're going to have to. I think the NCAA is going to rule in his favor that he will have 1 year of eligibility. As of right now, I don't have the same confidence that Marcus Hill is going to get that. His situation is more so JUCO related of, is he going to get another JUCO year back? With his clock starting 6 years ago,
there's precedent though with the Pavia stuff.
There is. His situation is just a little bit more complicated, and I can't get into those details yet. But what I will say is they're more confident that Bryson Warren will get his waiver than they are with Marcus Hill.
Well, it's not a dissimilar situation to what baseball's dealing with Jake Dewar. Jake Dewar played in 3 games in one of his years at TCU, had concussion issues, and missed the remainder of the season. What's crazy is right now we have a rule in football where you can play 4 games and still maintain a red shirt. But in baseball, if you throw 1 pitch, that burns your entire year. Now, they are looks like they're going to go to the 5 years of eligibility at some point soon. And a lot of baseball coaches across the country were making decisions late in the year believing that a 5-for-5 was coming. I think Jake Dewar's got a legitimate argument here. Now, I've not been given any level of confidence that he is going to get that year back. I talked to Jake just a couple of days ago. He's getting pretty frustrated because, like you said, it's up to the NCAA. They work in this shroud of mystery, and you don't know when your case is going to be looked at and examined. But Jake was a little frustrated that he hadn't heard anything back. And we do know that, especially here in town, like they can go and fight this thing and win it.
Yeah.
So I think Jake Dewar returning to Texas A&M baseball, while I would put it at, I'd still say it's doubtful. I am more bullish on it than I was when I first learned that he was going to file for another year of eligibility. This isn't something that just happened either.
Right.
If you've been following our transfer portal thread, the baseball transfer portal thread, I reported this a couple of weeks ago. This process started before the end of the regular season. So Jake has been working on this behind the scenes for quite some time. So we'll see. That would be a big addition, no different than, I mean, Bryson Warren is going to be a key role for this Aggie basketball team. But if you're able to get Jake Dewar back with what else they're doing in the portal, and you just add another bat, another piece of depth, a guy that was pretty good for you this year, I think A&M would be thrilled to get him back. But
yeah, you mentioned frustration. I think that's ultimately a common theme here, whether it's basketball guys trying to get eligibility or baseball. There's just too much uncertainty with the NCAA. And the fact that, I mean, we talked to Marcus Hill right after the season ended, and like, there's still frustration that, like, why don't I have an answer yet, right? Like, why did I file this waiver before the regular season ended? And I don't even know until every other roster is completely full in the middle of the summer whether or not I'll be able to play next year.
Well, if Marcus Hill wants to leave, where can he go?
That's the problem, is all these rosters had to put themselves in a situation where you don't want to be waiting on a key player for a waiver when you're not confident in that player getting the waiver. So A&M had to fill that spot. Now, Marcus Hill could still return, right? A&M has 14 scholarship players. There's one spot remaining. They are keeping that spot open in case Marcus Hill wants to return, in case they can find an international player. They've left that spot open intentionally just in case that avenue is opened. The problem for Marcus Hill is the every day that this goes on and every moment that he has to wait, that's another international player signing late with a Power 5 program. That takes a spot away from a guy like him that is waiting for that. They kept the spot open last year. Ali Deba found out in late July that he was going to be eligible, and A&M signed him a week later. But like, why are we waiting until summer practices are already over for every Power 5 team to clear these kids and give them eligibility?
Can you succinctly, because we're up against the break, can you succinctly give us what LSU's looking at and why there's so much influx with their roster?
Because they brought in a bunch of European players older than, look, when Ruben Dominguez tried to get eligibility last year and he was 21 years old and he's never played college basketball, they're going to give it to him because that's a 21-year-old. It's fair. That's what precedent has been set. But LSU is bringing in 23, 24, and 26-year-old Europeans, two of them whom have already been drafted by NBA teams and then sent to go play overseas for their hometown club. You can't just bring in guys who wouldn't be college-aged originally and think, oh, because they've never played college or never played professional basketball, that they can now play college basketball. And then he's bringing in guys like RJ Lewis, who already went to college, was an all Big East guy at St. John's, got drafted, or went to the draft, didn't get drafted, but signed and was traded throughout the G League. Why does that guy now get to come back and play college basketball? So they're waiting on eligibility decisions that have never been decided on before in a positive manner, right? Like no 26-year-old that already got drafted to an NBA team 5 years ago is going to come back and get college eligibility. So Will Wade is counting on winning a lot of battles in court. And if that's the route that he wants to take, I think in a month or two, we may be viewing LSU basketball in a similar light to how you view Texas Tech football, where they're the villain and having to go to court just to have a roster.
If those court sessions are happening in Louisiana, I can tell you which way that they're going to, which way the rulings are going to go. All right, when we come back, we'll close the Go Hour here on TexAgs Live on a Monday morning. Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We'll close it out on the other side of the break.
I'm Wes Mangan, and I live on a piece of property with my wife and 2 boys and several animals. I work in oil and gas, and I travel a lot, and so when I come home, it's like my sanctuary. I get to see Lauren and the boys, and it's been just a perfect fit for us, and it's really improved our family time. And this is the first land I'd ever purchased, so dealing with the land side of things and dealing with Capital Farm Credit was super easy for us through the whole process. I definitely feel like with Capital Farm Credit, together we are better.
Our final segment of the Go Hour this morning. Go Hour is presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, Ryan Broniger and Luke Evangelist. If you want to interact with the show, the Catalyst Pure Performance text line, Buppy's Catering Hotline, 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150. We would typically be in the Holistic Planning Cool Zone if it were David and Olin running a professional show. Olin would be over there in his long jogging pants and his 2-button shirt, collared shirt. But they would be in the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. You want to learn more about holistic planning, go to investinprosports.com today. They can help you make solid financial decisions. If you do not want to make solid financial decisions, take betting advice from Matthew Dawson or Brendan Sorsby, one of the two. We were talking during the break, more World Cup stuff. Cristiano Ronaldo plays today, and that is why David is not here. He is going to Houston to watch his GOAT.
Yeah.
And I very specifically say his GOAT because he's not the GOAT. After what we watched from Lionel Messi last night, put a stamp on his greatness as if he needed to do it. Once he won the World Cup in 2022, he thrust himself into the, not even into the conversation, but like at the front of the line for greatest soccer player of all time. I think with what he's done with Inter Miami and then now what he's doing in this World Cup, we're going to talk about him as perhaps the greatest athlete in his sport that's ever lived.
I agree.
I think it's also evident that he could absolutely, like if he wanted to, he could still play at a top level, like in a European league. And he's just in the MLS to, make that money and have some fun.
It's remarkable to watch him play. It's skill that even if you don't know nothing about soccer, you watch this guy play, and it's jaw-dropping what he's able to do with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, he just became the all-time league
tied
scorer.
Miroslav Klose. Yeah.
You want to know what's crazy is Mbappe's 2 goals behind him.
Isn't
that insane?
Yeah, but Mbappe's got a long way to go.
He does, but I just think like Mbappe at the World Cup is on another level that you don't even process that oh my goodness, he's 2 goals away from like tying Messi. Like what? And he's what, 23?
On the other side of the break, thank you, Luke, for hanging out with us for the hour. The other side of the break, we're going to switch the focus. A lot of baseball talk through the 9 o'clock hour here on TexAgs Live. John Scheschuk, great friend of the program, great Aggie, on the other side of the break. Stick with us on TexAgs Live. All right, rolling right along on a Wednesday morning, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we are excited to hop out on the Buppy's Catering Hotline. Eat, drink, Buppy's. Buppy's has been in business for 35 years, catering generations of families. Buppy's mobile bar is available for any outdoor event. Ask about their bar bundle discount. Call 979-779-6417. A guy who I can promise you is not drinking on the job, is a professional in every element and one of the best human beings walking the planet. We welcome in former Texas A&M first baseman, all-time great John Scheschuk to the program. Shesh, thanks for hopping on with me, buddy.
Oh, anytime, man. And with that kind of introduction, I need to call you every morning, Bronny, just to get myself fired up. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, tell your wife that I called you all those nice things. Hey, I do want to.
I will too.
I've not talked about this on air, I don't believe. Maybe on one of the baseball broadcasts I did. I got to meet your son at one of the games this year. Let me tell you something, man. I'm going to go ahead and tell Coach Early to offer that guy a scholarship. I don't care if he can play dead in a cowboy movie. You're raising one impressive young man, and I hear he's not bad. He's like his old man with the bat, huh?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and yeah, I will credit Callie on that. She does a great job in raising them, and we both do. We're aligned on how to raise all four of our kids, and I'm excited about his future, not only in baseball but in life. But I'll tell you a quick story about that. We went in front of the team, myself and Samuel. He was probably 7 or 8, and I told you this that day in the booth. And he stood in front of that Texas A&M baseball team as a little kid, and Mike Early will attest to this. And we addressed the team, and we were just talking about business and life. And, I appreciated the opportunity to do that a few years ago. And, man, Samuel stood there as a little kid in front of 35 D1 athletes, which is an intimidating environment. And you've been down in that room at the stadium. It's pretty small room, and the meeting room there, and everybody's staring right at you. And Samuel just stood there and took it. I know that made an impression on Mike Early and the rest of the staff that day. But I appreciate you saying that. He's a great kid.
Yeah, and speaking of those facilities, A&M in the process of refurbishing what they've got currently at Bluebell Park. Shesh, you have seen the development from Olsen Field to Olsen Field at Bluebell Park to what the atmosphere is today. But still, how important do you think this kind of the next step of the ballpark and especially the player facilities and the amenities can be for what Michael Early's trying to build here?
It's huge. I mean, there's not a clear-cut advantage with Bluebell Park the way it once was, maybe in my era. When I played, maybe it was Dish Falk Field and Olsen Field and then kind of everybody else, if you will, at least in our league. That is certainly not the case in the SEC. I mean, you have to constantly rebuild that facility on the annual basis, and you have to constantly improve it because everybody else is making those investments. So seeing what A&M's doing there is really good. I'm happy for Coach Early. I'm happy for the program. And it's a must. I mean, the game is so much science-based now, as you're aware, and there's so much money involved, not only at the collegiate level, but at the professional level, that if you don't have these types of spots where these kids believe they can go develop from a scientific perspective, from a mental perspective, from a psychological perspective, and then, from a pure athleticism perspective, you're going to get beat. And so I'm really glad that Texas A&M moved forward with this phase of that development.
Looking back at the season, Shesh, in hindsight, clear steps forward for Coach Early in year number 2. Just want to get your overall assessment of what you thought of the season. I know that it's a little bit sore given the last 2 days and how A&M played in that regional final against USC. But I think the further that we get away from what actually happened in the season, you can look back on it with some real encouragement going forward.
Yeah, first off, Mike, to me, has that edge. And I've had a couple of chances to sit down with him on a one-on-one basis. And one in particular was that Mississippi State weekend. I was doing the game and was able to sit in his office and just visit with him one-on-one for, a bit of time. And the edge that he carries, Bronny, is solid. I like that a lot. I think he brings that energy to it. He for sure is a competitive guy. So I think he's got the DNA that's required to be successful. And then we can move over to the moves he's making. You bring in Cliff Pennington. That was clearly a step forward for the program. I like Claunch, young guy. I like having him around. I thought he was good for the program this last season. Of course, Hutch is the mainstay that's been there forever. And then you go to Barry Enright, the new hire there. I think he's doing the correct moves, from a staff perspective that are required. And when you combine that edge that he has and that competitiveness he has and the youthfulness that he has, I think that's so important in today's game because that's such an exhausting job. I mean, there are no days off. It is exhausting to reach the pinnacle at a D1 level in today's game. And so I think he has that DNA to him. I think the staff that he's building around him are solid. And I just did a quick dive into some of the numbers. You know, they fielded 974 and 25. They fielded 978 and 26. So just a slight improvement there, but it's still an improvement. They hit 260 and 25, and they hit 303 and 26. Clearly, Mike took the reins on the offensive side of the baseball, and you see that directly impacted by those stats. The ERA was opposite, which we all could have guessed. In 25, it was 4.30. In 26, it was 5.21. So you have to adjust that as a manager. You have to make a decision. And he did that with Barry Enright, and I think that was the correct move. And that's no offense to our prior coach. I mean, I have nothing against JK. I wish him the best, but you have to make a move in today's competitive landscape. And then I even looked at the stolen bases. The Aggies went from 41 to 56 year over year, from 25 to 26. And I think Cliff probably came in and they had maybe a little slight philosophical change. And Cliff was able to use, you know, his acumen from a base running perspective, and they improved in that area. So I go back to everything I said. You go to who he is, what his DNA is. He's a competitive person. He's youthful. He's got 2 years under his belt. So that's a check. Then you go to, okay, what staff moves do you have to make? You got Cliff, you've got Troy, you've got Barry, you've got the old guard in Hutch. I think that's a check. You go to the facilities, I think that's a check. And then some of those stats that I just rattled off, they improved year over year. And when they didn't improve, then he had to make a change. So from my opinion, objectively, I think he's doing the right moves that are required for the program to be at the highest level.
It's going to be an interesting offseason, an important offseason. You talked about replacing Jason Kelly with Barry Enright. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's an important offseason, Shesh, from a roster standpoint, because you are watching some guys leave Texas A&M that have been staples of this program, and Gavin Grahovic and Caden Sorrell. Obviously, Chris Sakopian was a one-year guy but made a huge impact. You're having to replace a lot of physicality on the field, but you're having to replace a lot of character and a lot of buy-in for the program. You were a part of A&M teams that had some transition in the locker room, in the clubhouse. How important is it for guys like Boston Kellner and Nico Partita to carry the mantle that Gavin Grahovic, the example that Gavin Grahovic and Caden Sorrell set about what is the standard at Texas A&M baseball as a former player that has to matter to you?
It's the most important thing. And I cannot understate that enough. I mean, we can have the facilities, coaching, athletes. You can have everything you need, Bronny. If you don't have guys, sorry there, I lost you. If you don't have guys in that locker room, Bronny, that are driving the ship, the team is toast. So now this program squarely falls on the shoulders of Nico, of Jorian, of Boston. Those guys are now the guys. If they don't start on, September 1st or whenever it is that fall camp breaks, that has got to be the tone set by those guys. And if you don't have that team's going to struggle. And you're right. I've seen that directly at A&M. And this is true with any program, by the way. The guys that are the dudes that are leading the charge, when they leave, if you don't have somebody else step up in those shoes, that team's not going to be successful. So huge transition for the team next year. If I'm Mike Early, I am identifying that with Nico and Jorian and Boston right now. And I am telling them, guys, you are going to have to lead this ship. And this ship is going to rise with you or it's going to fall with you. Now, some people may say that's a ton of pressure. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a great opportunity for those guys. And, of course, you're going to have new guys step up. But if you don't have returners doing that, then the team's toast.
Shesh, I want to go back and kind of recap. Obviously, we mentioned Sorrell and Hakopian, incredible players. But what Gavin Grahovic did to his legacy at Texas A&M and playing a position that you were, you're a Texas A&M Hall of Famer as a first baseman. And you watch Gavin take to that position, but you also watch him in the batter's box and you watched his maturity at Texas A&M. Where do you kind of put Gavin all time here as a former Aggie baseball player and now an Aggie baseball fan?
Well, I don't think you can put him at the top of that list because he missed that year. So let me separate that for a second. Statistically speaking, one of the best, consistency, approach, all that, one of the best. It stinks that we missed that year with him because had he had that sophomore season, I mean, you are putting him up there on the Mount Rushmore of guys in this program. He still is, by the way. I just think that year cost him, from a legacy perspective. That's on the baseball field, so set that aside. Now, when you want to talk about guys that I have enjoyed watching and guys that I like, and I've seen a lot of guys come and go through this program over the last 30-plus years, he is at the top of that list for me, Bronny. Man, I got to spend some time with him when they played at Tennessee last year in 25 when he was hurt. We talked quite a bit that weekend, and just over the years, I've seen him before games and just talked with him. And, man, his presence, his consistency, his character, everything that he brings to the table has just been amazing, and he will be sorely missed. So, yeah, he's an all-time great at Texas A&M. I think he's going to be a 10 to 15 big league guy. I just feel like that's his destiny, and he just carries himself in that way. So I'm really excited to see him and what he does in his pro career. But, yes, man, what an asset for our program and what a great human being.
Shesh, as Coach Early attacks this portal season, had a big commitment the other day in Nate Savoy. But what are some of the areas that you are most interested in following as, this lineup, this roster, it is going to have some turnover. There are going to be some new faces. What are you excited to see about the way Early and Pennington attack this portal class?
Yeah, and I saw, they got the guy, was it Nunez from Wichita State and Evangelist from UNLV. So, I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're always going to do that. They know that's the lifeblood of the program. But, yeah, it's got to be on the mound. That's where the focus, you just got to find that frontline starter, that Friday night guy. You got to find somebody that steps up into that role. And of course, even on the back end, I know Freshcorn did a great job there last year. We've had several guys over the past few years that have done a really good job on the back end, but you have to find that frontline starter that you just know is going to go out there and dominate every Friday night. And we hope that's Aiden Sims, right? But one of these portal guys may step into that as well. That's got to be their key focus as they get into the portal, because I think the bats are going to be there. I think Mike and Cliff have a good enough resume offensively to get the talent in the door and to develop them. The biggest thing for me is going to be, what does Barry Enright do with the pitching staff, and how can they address that in 27 to become an elite club?
Barry Enright has yet to make the kind of the interview tour, but whenever he does start sitting down either with us or with local media, what are some of the things that you're being most interested to hear from Barry Enright? What are some of the things that maybe not buzzwords, but maybe approach that you're like, oh, that I like that?
Yeah. So it's funny for me. I guess I'm old school in this way. I really don't care what he says about pitching mechanics or shapes, or like you said, whatever the buzzwords in 2026 are. That really is irrelevant to me. What I want to talk about is approach. I want to talk about command. I want to talk about presence. I want to talk about mindset, because to me, that's all pitching is, man. And the same with hitting. But like when I look at Weston Moss, I always love watching him pitch, whether he threw good or bad. It is what it is. But, man, that dude brought it every time he went out on the mound, and I really like that about him. But even look at Evan Oschenbeck. Okay, let's go back a few years, and I think Freshcorn was this way. I actually comped those two quite a bit. I know one's left-handed, one's right-handed. I know they're different style pitchers. I get that. But the way they approached the game was very similar. Freshcorn was a little more emotional than Evan was. But if you think about Evan, he's like Mariano Rivera, man. He just threw the same pitch over and over and over again. His mentality was strike one. Okay, now I got strike one. Let me get to strike two. And then once he had you 0-2 or 1-2, it was over. And Freshcorn, in a lot of ways, did the same thing. But to me, as Barry Enright comes in, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear him command the room. I want to hear those pitchers have that healthy respect for him. Not fear, but healthy respect of, hey, this guy's going to demand me to get ahead. This guy's going to demand me to throw a fastball. This guy's going to demand me to challenge hitters. I think the talent that A&M's going to get always is going to be there, whether it's hitting or pitching, and I think that mindset piece is a critical importance to success for our team.
Shesh, you're the man, buddy. I really appreciate it. Always enjoy listening to you talk baseball. I could listen to you talk about, playing marbles, and I'd be interested. So I appreciate your time, buddy.
Hey, thank you, man. Good job today, and best wishes to you.
All right, that's former Texas A&M infielder. And, I forget, Cade, that I introduced Shesh, and I know him so well, and now he's kind of involved with 12 baseball, and he's got kids playing for our academy. You forget that guy's a Texas A&M Hall of Famer, and we have him on the show kind of, casually, constantly. He's the best, man. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. He's always great insight from Shesh.
All right, when we come back, we'll continue the conversation. We're going to look ahead to the MLB draft and really the overall landscape of what college baseball is and what it could become with maybe a pending lockout at the major league level. We'll talk about all of that with Justin Seeley, former Texas A&M assistant and now an Arizona Diamondbacks scout, along with just baseball man in general. When we come back, we'll go back out to the Buffy's Catering Hotline as we roll right along on a Wednesday morning of TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going, you use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. Everyone, David Nuno here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports. And they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
It is 9:22 on a Wednesday morning. As a reminder, the final segment of the show is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12-979-693-1150 will hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave, serving Aggieland and beyond since 1984. And with that, so call in, get your pizza. We're going out to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline right now to talk to one of my favorite baseball people and people in general on the planet, but a guy that has lived baseball, breathed baseball at just about every level. Now I am esteemed enough to call him a colleague of mine with 12 Baseball, but we welcome in former Texas A&M assistant, professional baseball scout, Justin Seeley, to the program. Coach Seeley, I appreciate your time, man.
Man, that's a heck of an introduction. Thank you, Bronny.
You know, you didn't get as good as one as John Scheschuk did. I will tell you that.
Well, I wasn't as good a player as John Scheschuk, so that's rightfully so.
Hey, Coach Seeley, very busy time for you with all you got going on in this summer. But one of the hats that you wear as a professional scout, I just want to kind of dive into what you see with this crop of players leaving Texas A&M. I want to start with Gavin Grahovic and Caden Sorrell, guys that have left an indelible mark on this Aggie baseball program and now getting ready to start their professional journey. Kind of where do you see Gavin and Sorrell in your eyes as a scout, and maybe where they project to fall here in this Major League Baseball draft?
Yeah, and I would say I'm, kind of one of, a number of opinions that count for, our organization and, across all the other organizations. So opinions are going to vary, which is good, on these things. I've had the fortune of being able to see these guys for a long, long time. I even as far back as recruited Caden in high school when I was at Oklahoma State. So I've known of these players, seen them for a long, long time. Gavin, starting there, burst on the scene as a freshman. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, but I guess I'm going through the timeline for him, just how he ends up to where he is right now. Really good player, played every day. Doing it in the SEC, hitting in the top of the order. I think he's hit leadoff or two probably every game that he's played in a Texas A&M uniform, and has carried that weight all the way through. Punched out a little bit more than he probably would have liked and the team would have liked as a freshman, but he also delivered 25 homers and slugged at a really high level for a guy that age, had the injury that I think everybody's aware of. And then you get to this year, the time, the effort, the selflessness that this guy shows on the field is really, really impressive. And it's resulted in a really well-rounded year. A guy that, got off and he wasn't lighting the world on fire early in the year, but still holding his own and doing his thing. And then, I think about the Missouri series, kind of front of conference. He got off and started playing like he's more than capable of. And from there on out, I think he's pushed his name, kind of maybe from the, kind of if you're ranking things, maybe in the hundreds, something like that, as a right-handed hitting first baseman. So you're talking about a guy that could possibly end up in the back half of the first round right now.
Wow, and he made some serious strides in his strike zone awareness, swing decisions. When you watch Caden Sorrell play, the swing decisions kind of go here and there, but it is special, bat to ball, when contact is made, the barrel quality is pretty special. How do pro clubs view his feel for the strike zone, and how big of a determining factor is it for where he could go?
So, you bring up a point that, I'm not sure all baseball people, like fans, pay attention to so much, because you're trying to enjoy the game and trying to enjoy the production. But if you're trying to predict success at this level, which, Major League Baseball is getting better and better at doing that. You see these guys getting to the big leagues at a younger and younger age, and the players are getting better. That's a testament to them too. But one of the things is strike zone awareness, and one of them is swing and miss, and one of them is chase. And you start adding those things up. We all have lots of data and numbers. Where Gavin has made some real strides are in those categories. Where Caden gets himself in trouble, just from a analytical standpoint, is in some of those categories. Now, the other thing that Caden does is Caden impacts the baseball game. He impacts the baseball game on defense. He impacts the baseball game by slug, OPS, base running. There's a number of other things that he brings. So you're trying to, quantify a balance as to what you value with him. And there are some pitches that you can throw to any hitter, but to him that, right now, if you look at the spreadsheet tells you, well, I can throw it here and that he's going to get himself out. The problem with that is if you miss, he will crush you. I mean, he could end the game all by himself. So, that's one of those things where if you watch him, you look at his numbers, he may not go. He may, because it's the draft, the way I see it falling this year, outside of about the first 4 or 5 picks, is going to be all about taste, what you like. So you may not see him go as good as you think he should, or he may go better than you think he should, and it's going to be kind of a matter of taste of what a team wants.
It is to speak to those qualities. Is that why Chris Akopian is kind of, even through the injuries that he had at Texas A&M this year, is that why he has kind of held on to his value as a prospect, because there is very little swing and miss in zone and there's very little chase?
Yes, he's got elite breaks. That's the way I look at it. Like his ability to check up when he sees a pitch, and I mean, he can check up almost to the last second, and it's not breaks where, if you're in your car, it's not breaks where your head's snapping forward. It's breaks where your head stays back. I mean, they're that good. And so he sees the ball very, very well. He's got a really good plan. He's super competitive. And some of the intangible qualities that you enjoy as a fan, but you also appreciate as an evaluator is, I mean, the guy's got hit in the face. He's been injured a number of times, and he just keeps posting. I mean, he just keeps going out and playing, and you can tell by him moving around that he doesn't feel great. But if he can smell a hit, or if he thinks he can score, I mean, he's giving everything that he has. So it makes you believe that this guy, the passion to win, the competitiveness at the plate, combined with the breaks, and then combined with, the numbers that we talked about here, kind of at the start, all add up to a player that you feel like offensively is going to control the zone, get good swings off on the right pitches, and put the ball in play and give themselves a chance to get hits, get on base, and be a winning baseball player.
And I also want to look at Clayton Freshcorn. And you and I have had conversations. I've had conversations with a handful of other scouts. And to me, with Clayton Freshcorn in the draft is, what do the organizations value him as? And it's very understandable that if you believe he's a starter, then he commands more value. You don't have to dive into y'all's process, but just talk about the difference in drafting a starter versus a reliever.
Yes. So good question, Bronny. So the starter profile, the guys that post consistently on the mound with starts give you, there's some durability that you believe that comes with that. Now, that being said, as a reliever, when a guy like him posts as much as he does for the amount of time that he does, it starts making you want to lean into the ability to get through the lineup more than twice, which as a starter, that's really what you're looking for. These days, especially, you're looking for somebody that can get you 2.5, 3 times through the lineup. And then, if you just want to go back to, you want to use recency bias in his most recent outing, him starting, he was in complete command of a game against a team that was playing, in my estimation, at the top of their game at the end of the year in USC, and he completely controlled the game in that. So if you are a believer that he can start, then that only helps maybe validate your feelings. And where the difference comes in is the difference in paying a starter versus paying a reliever is no different than in the big leagues. You're going to pay the starters catch a premium. The relievers, they get a good price tag, but it's not exactly the same on the AAV. So I think that's where, if you want to just look at it big picture, that's probably where you could probably split the difference between a starter and a reliever.
Coach City, before we get out of here, I want to talk about a guy that you know very well. You coached with him. You've gotten to know him throughout his playing days and his coaching days. But what can you tell the TexAgs audience about the preparedness and the meticulousness of Cliff Pennington and how he is going to go about evaluating players, both high school, but especially in this transfer portal window? Because you've seen him work as closely as anybody.
Yeah, so at the risk of getting a nasty text from Cliff, I'll say some really nice things about him because they're all true. What a fantastic person. Cliff was a guy that even when he would come back to the alumni games that we would have while I was coaching at Texas A&M, I mean, he's playing in the big leagues, and he would play all 9 innings of these alumni games where, we've got guys that are in AA or AAA, and, they're hobbling around and acting like they're, it's a little bit too difficult. And Cliff's just played a 162 game schedule. So, not just his love and passion for the game, I use as an example, but just as a person. And when you have that kind of confidence as a person, you have that kind of confidence and love as a player, evaluating baseball players becomes a lot easier because there's not a whole lot else in your way. And Cliff, as a late in his career as a big leaguer, had to figure out ways to get on the field and figure out ways how to carve a role. And even as a first round pick out of college, late in his career, he had to be a role player. And so he's seen baseball from all sides. And so when he goes to evaluate a player, he can figure out, what this guy's value is to our team and where, the numbers on the surface look good, but maybe he sees something inside of there that he figures, hey, there's more here that we can get out of this player, which is the real trick in the portal. Because if you're in evaluating players is, can you get the maximum out of that player, and can you see what his future might be? And do you believe it enough that the player can believe it? And I think those are the things where Cliff has got all of those intangible qualities on top of he's just seen baseball at the highest level, and he knows what it takes to be a rock star in the big leagues, and he knows what it takes to be a role player in the big leagues. And I think he can speak to both ends of that.
Coach Seeley, I'll see you a little bit later. Drink your water today.
All right. Yes, sir. See you, Brian.
All right. That's former Texas A&M baseball coach Justin Seeley. When we come back, we continue the 9 o'clock hour with just incredible people coming on this program. Andrew Monaco, one of the best that there is. Again, I keep, assigning these adjectives to these people that are genuinely as good a human beings as you could ever imagine. And I get to talk to him here on this radio show today. All right, we roll along. Andrew Monaco on the other side of the break here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Welcome back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Ryan Broninger inside the Rollo Insurance Studio. Ashley Munson over there in the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. And we welcome in the voice of the Aggies and a great friend of mine. I'm proud to call him a great friend of mine, Andrew Monaco. Thank you for joining me, sir.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here, Bronny.
I always enjoy welcoming you into our booth the way you've been welcomed Nick and I into your booth.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This is an interesting time of the calendar for you because you have you wear so many hats as the voice of A&M and cutting even the promos for A&M and all these kinds of things. Are you getting some downtime now?
I promise. Yes, I am. This is at the time of year, Bronny, where I say, you know what? I think I could be retired.
Oh, don't do that.
No, I'm not doing that.
And I'll tell you what, Miss Laura don't want you to do that either. She won't be.
No, she has a tendency to say, when's your next road trip?
Yeah.
So that's when you know that you're wearing out your welcome.
Yeah. We're trying to just kind of put a bow on the athletic calendar. And it's really looking at what Trev Alberts has built and what A&M's got in the head coaching department across the entire athletic department. This is a really exciting time.
Agreed. Yeah. Trending up. If it's a stock, I'm buying, right? Across the entire athletic landscape, don't you think? Like, there's so much, I'll use the buzzword, right? There's so much synergy, but the coaches on this campus get along. They've got their text messages. They trust one another, talk with one another, understand what one another. Look, it's led by Mike Elko. If you want to be a head football coach in college football, you have to realize that it's not just the wins and losses. You represent the entire university. I don't think anybody does it better than Mike does. But each of these coaches with their programs, you have the right leaders. Not only can they coach, outstanding people. It's not like this anywhere. I say it's not like this everywhere, but it's definitely here. And as I say that, you go to the top, right? Who Trev Alberts is, I think also permeates this entire program.
Yeah, it's just it's a very professional approach. And one thing that I don't know Trev super well, but when you listen to Trev talk, he is at the forefront of this ever-changing landscape of college athletics. And that's not easy to navigate. That's not easy to have a grasp on because it seems like every week some judge somewhere has altered the rules in favor of a certain student athlete. And Trev has really been outspoken about we need leadership and we've got to
He's right.
We've got to at least attempt to put the genie back in the bottle here.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's been a void of leadership in the NCAA, and this isn't recent. It's been a while. And I don't know if we're waiting for the breakaway in the Super Division I, as I call it. But if we are, this void, again, it's always been like the Wild West. And I say this about Trev Alberts is he's built for 2026 going into 27, and it is different than any other time. Has it not? I mean, like an AD can't be just the former coach or your head football coach, or there's got to be a business savvy. But to your point, you have to be ready because it can change in a moment's notice. And I just think he is built for this with the combination of business acumen, understanding athletics, trusting your coaches. I talked about alignment the last time I was in, having that alignment. And I think he has all those characteristics for being an athletic director in 2026 and beyond.
And you look at some of the sports and the head coaches that are trending up. And we were talking about during the break about just the baseball postseason and how fickle the game of baseball is and how close, like even USC, who played remarkably well in this regional, they played sterling defense, incredible defense, and it lets them down in 2 plays in Chapel Hill. And now North Carolina is well on their way to perhaps winning the national championship. You look at Trisha Ford, you look at Mike Elko. This is outside of Mark Weaver and Jamie Morrison, who hoisted the trophies.
Right.
But it's really close, man. Like this thing is really close to blowing up into perhaps the most well-rounded athletic department we've ever seen.
You have coaches who absolutely embrace this place, want to be here, and adopt everything once they've come in, and then they are Aggies. Like there's Bucky McMillan, right? He comes in and he's talking about games in the past, and he's saying we won that game. Oh, we lost that game last time we were here. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's right, you're we now, even though you weren't the head coach. That, and I love that the expectations are high. I love the expectation is national championship. But sometimes it takes a while to get. You can't just snap your fingers and do it. What were you talking about with Shesh about the important, to me, Gavin Grahovac, right? His legacy isn't the last pitch he faced. His legacy will be, what do you impart to Nico and Jorian and Boston, right? That's the important thing. That's what I think a lot of the coaches have in these programs is being surrounded by great players, but great people, great leaders. That's why you're able to have the consistency. And that's why I think you're also able to have an upward tick to compete for national championships.
Yeah, and you see those players in basketball with Rashawn Agee and you know, his impact on that team, but what he meant for Bucky, implementing Bucky's culture. And you look at Trey Zune and Torian York from Mike Elko. These are guys that, you know, within coaching transition, which we've seen across the big three sports over the last couple of years, you have to have these guys that propel your program forward. And that is why I have just been waxing lyrical about Gavin Grahovac. He's an incredible player, but like the kid, the
phenomenal
human being. Yeah, like that is why he's kind of, you know, John Scheschuk said if he's healthy as a sophomore, he's on the Mount Rushmore of Aggie baseball.
Agreed.
Because of what he did on the field and off. And so I'm super intrigued by this offseason for all of the big three sports, right? Yeah. What does Mike Elko do after sending 10 guys to the NFL? What does Bucky McMillan do after an incredible year one with the roster turnover? Michael Early going into year three, where we saw incredible progress from year one to year two.
Right.
There's a ton of intrigue, even in the summer when you get time off.
Yeah, that and you have to identify the flaws and correct those flaws through the portal or through your recruiting. You have to, and that's the honesty, right? That's the honesty of a coach who has a program. To your point, if you're Jamarian Morrow as a running back at Texas A&M, and all you know is how Le'Veon Moss prepared, great. You're Noah McHale, and you've got that linebacker next to you every single day, huge, right? Is it not? So all you know is Torian York? Yeah, that's it going forward. But something you said about how does Mike Elko, see the 10 draft picks and the 15 signees in the NFL can't be a one-off. You have to do that every year.
That's the sustainable model.
Bingo.
That's the sustainable
model. So what does
model.
Mike Elko say? I need not only all SEC players, I need NFL talent.
Yes.
And that's what Michael Early's going to do for baseball. You're going to have all these draft picks. You think that's, if they're smart, if you're coming into this program, you just realize, wait a second, Braden Montgomery is a Chicago White Sox. Oh, that's right, Michael Early. Bingo. You want to get to the pros? I can get you there. You have to have all SEC talent, and the Aggies had that this year. That was the difference, right? And they played like it all season long, the consistency. You have to have major league talent. And I'll say that with all the programs. Can you get to be a pro? Mark Weaver has pros, right? Pat Henry, pros. You do that. Tricia Ford has pros. You can see it now on the next stage. To me, that's intriguing. As a recruit, it can even be intriguing to someone coming in from the portal.
How much do you enjoy being a fan of the sports you don't get to call? Like, how much did you enjoy Jamie Morrison's run to the national championship?
Yeah, and especially getting a chance to. What I have found, Bronny, a little bit is, and I'll be honest about this. I think I learned to appreciate this through Jimbo and Mike, through Billy Kennedy and Buzz, through Rob Childress and what it meant to his teams. But the leadership aspect intrigues me. Like there has to be, and again, as you know, sports are so important to character development and all of that. But there's that leadership aspect that I like. So how do you connect with your student athletes and you see how successful they are? And that's a reason why I say an awful lot is the right guy at the right time, or the right coach at the right time, because he or she really seems to connect. And again, they're dealing with something completely different in the sports landscape, having to adjust almost on the fly at times. But you have those right people. To me, I enjoy watching and saying, boy, there's a leadership aspect, but I also love to see Aggie student athletes celebrating.
I could talk to you for an hour. We're up against a break. Got a busy show. You'll understand all that.
I totally understand.
I always appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, my friend.
Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies. When we come back, we'll see. I want Kay Naegeli to have a whole segment to herself, a full segment to talk about what Jamie Morrison has done in the volleyball recruiting landscape. Also, Tricia Ford, very active in the transfer portal herself. So we're going to see about this, Kate. How about this? I'm going to just tap dance for the final segment of this hour. When we come back at the 10 o'clock hour, I'm going to do as much for Jason Howell and Recruiting Country in one segment, and then I'm going to give Kay her own segment between Jason and Kendall Rogers. How about that, Kate? on-air production meeting. There's no finer place. This is really B-team antics on David Nuno's professional radio show. I apologize for it. A lot more to get to when we come back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, did some rearranging. I want to thank everybody for joining me during that 9 o'clock hour. We ran a little bit long on some of those interviews, but they were great. I hope you enjoyed that information. Really quality content from John Scheschuk, Justin Seeley, and Andrew Monaco. Again, I could have talked to any of those three for a lot longer, but we are trying to adhere to the clock, and in order for us to get back on the clock, but also give the proper time allocation to Kay Naegeli, who is covering Aggie volleyball better than anybody else on the beat, on the scene. She wanted to come on to highlight the efforts of Jamie Morrison. So what we're going to do is we're going to take segment number 2 of Recruiting Country We're going to use that as volleyball recruiting country. So Jason Howell and I, to start the 10 o'clock hour, we will get into all the latest that Mike Elko and company have got going on. And boy, do they have some stars in their eyes here to close the summer. So Jason and I will get to all that during the 10 o'clock hour. We'll have Kay on, then we'll go back to Kendall Rogers and then Sydney and Kaylee to close the show. In the meantime, to close the 9 o'clock hour, we go over to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ashley Munson is going to take you around TexAgs today.
Yes. So coming up on TexAgs today, Texas A&M volleyball lands a major commitment in the 2028 class with the top 20 prospect, Maya Mortensen. So go out, check out Kay's article for more information on her. Plus, we have interviews with Maya Perez, Tommy Colligan, Cohen Eccles, and Zach Clements. And we have Jason Howell joins us with the latest recruiting news. And we'll remind you to keep up with Bronny's baseball transfer portal tracker, Kay and Kayla's softball transfer portal tracker, along with Kay's volleyball tracker. Also, make sure you go buy tickets and register for the 16th annual TexAgs preseason kickoff on July 25th, featuring head coach Mike Elko as Aggieland gears up for another football season.
Yeah, that is one of the bigger events in our calendar, PKO. If you have not registered for that, go to TexAgs.com for more information. We will have sit-downs with Mike Elko, Trev Alberts, Bucky McMillan, Michael Early, tons of stuff to give away, silent auction items, regular auction items. It's a great time. The night before, a happy hour. Miranda Powers, who works here, does a ton of work, her and her crew. We call them Miranda's Minions. There's an army of them running around to get PKO ready this year, each and every year. And so it's an event that we are proud to put on, and it always is a great kickoff to the fall sports season and get everybody fired up. As Ashley said, everybody fired up for football. When we come back out to the hotline, everybody's favorite recruiting analyst, Jason Howell, joins us. Mike Elko and company trying to close on a few 5 stars. We'll talk more about that on the other side of the break. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, welcome back to TexAgs Live. 10 o'clock on a Wednesday. You know what we do at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday on this show? We do Recruiting Country. We talk all things recruiting with either myself or more recently, all the time, Jason Howell. Recruiting Country is presented by American Momentum Bank. They're a privately owned bank headquartered in Bryan College Station. They are committed to helping community prosper by offering you a wide array of personal and business banking solutions specifically designed to help you build financial success with confidence and momentum on your side. With that, we go out to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. My colleague, good friend Jason Howell joins the show. Howler, I appreciate your time this morning. I apologize that Kay Naegeli is cutting into your time. You and her can duke that out.
No, that's a win for her every time. I'm just gonna concede that one.
Well, it just so happens that Mike Elko and company are not the only coaches on campus recruiting 5-star athletes out of high school.
No,
right now,
no
we will focus on what Mike Elko and company are doing. A very busy junior article that's up on TexAgs Premium right now recaps kind of just the busy month that has been for Texas A&M football and their recruiting efforts. Let's just start with the latest, Jason. You know, an impending decision from Caden Henderson is going to draw a lot of attention across the country. This is a 5-star linebacker out of Tampa, Florida. This is a guy that Mike Elko and company have been really hard after for a long time in this recruiting cycle. And we're finally going to get some closure one way or another with the decision tomorrow. And the momentum of this thing has flipped back and forth a couple of times.
Yeah, he's had A&M high on his list throughout. I know when he took his visit in the fall, the 12th man just really opened his eyes and put A&M in a strong spot. I want to say he's called that the best atmosphere he saw. And of course, he's been back multiple times since then. Just wrapped up his official visit a couple weeks ago. And Ed, we've heard some surges from Notre Dame, Texas A&M. You know, it's kind of gone back and forth a little bit lately. You got LSU in the mix, who with Lane Kiffin arriving in Baton Rouge has made a strong push with some of their Tampa Jesuit connections, and this one, Mike Elko and Marcus Freeman, man, going toe-to-toe for the top linebacker in the country. And it's everything you'd expect it to be.
If A&M is able to close this one out, and we do like the momentum that the Aggies have created here just 24 hours or so before the decision, but if A&M is able to close this one, what do you think it would mean for this defensive class, which is in the class overall, which is already rated number 1 in the country and full of 5 stars. But whenever you pair a second-level defender with what A&M's got along the defensive line right now, man, there's just not many holes in this defensive class if they're able to close on Henderson.
There's not many holes in this class at all, regardless of position. But Henderson definitely is such a big piece to the puzzle. He's been the guy that they prioritized at linebacker from beginning to end. He brings that versatility to the table where he is that every down, all-purpose linebacker. He can be your stud in the middle where he's making all the defensive calls. He can drop into coverage and go man-to-man with running backs and tight ends both. He's a guy that you can drop down and have him come off the edge. He brings that every down, just downhill ball player. He sees the field exceptionally well. He's been recruited by everybody for a reason, and why he's the number 1 linebacker in the country for a reason. And it's because, man, at linebacker, it's more than just the physical gifts. You have to play with intelligence, and he brings that quick twitch, that high football IQ, and the ability to take the punishment that comes at you at linebacker, as well as be that finesse player in today's game where you got to cover and you got to get out in space, and he does it all exceptionally well.
Yeah, and it would be a marker down for Travis Williams, new linebacker coach. Now, when you're recruiting a guy like Caden Henderson, it is without a doubt a group effort, but for Travis Williams to be able to, add him to his linebacker group, it would be the first real. Aston Whiteside's a good player, but you talk about like have a national impact where everybody takes notice. This would be Travis Williams' first big marker here at Texas A&M. Want to keep talking about five-star players, though, okay? You mentioned LSU kind of being on the periphery for Caden Henderson right now. One player that they're not on the periphery for is Albert Simeon, the offensive lineman out of Moss Bluff, Louisiana, Sam Houston High School, just north of Lake Charles. This has been one that has kind of seesawed back and forth with A&M, LSU, a sprinkling of Nebraska actually mixed in there, Notre Dame as well.
I would say Notre Dame has been the main focus as A&M's top competition for majority of this, with LSU just now really starting to gain some momentum. Like they've had some pushes there, but really I think a lot of people have been kind of discounting LSU, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I kept saying it. Even if somebody's telling you not to worry about LSU for a Louisiana kid, you better worry about LSU. They're always going to be there with a Louisiana kid.
Yeah, and this has been it. It just does seem odd that it's been a late summer surge for LSU because these are the type of kids. Like you go back and you look at Lamar Brown in last cycle. Lamar Brown, there was never a wave of urgency for LSU. Like they had the gas pedal down from start to finish, and maybe they have a little bit behind the scenes for Albert Simeon, but this is it. To your point, it is always an extremely difficult pull to get a kid out of Louisiana that LSU really wants. There has been a small window of Nick Saban at Alabama when he was able to go in there and do it consistently. Outside of that, it's been tough. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think it really kicked off. Lane Kiffin and that staff made Albert a priority very early on. They got him on campus early for an official visit. They were in there in the spring trying to get him on campus, and lately it does seem like things have really started to pick up there. And as you and I know, it's not just the coaching staff. It's not just the LSU program. But man, you're living in Louisiana, you're going to hear that LSU all the time. Everybody's going to ask you about it. Why aren't you going to LSU? What are they doing? What's happening? It's just a constant thing with the Tigers being the program there. Simeon, he's one thing I love that A&M has in their bag is they've been there from the ground floor with Albert Simeon. Before he was a top prospect, Albert Simeon was on their list, and A&M was right there with Adam Cushion leading the way and Mike Elko. And you've got some family relationships now with Caden McCarty, and you got a lot of things, a lot of familiarity there in A&M's favor. But you just can't count out LSU when it comes to these things. Now, I tend to lean still towards A&M in that battle, and we'll see what happens. I know he's supposed to take his Notre Dame visit this weekend, and so we'll see what goes on there. But it's going to be even if you feel good about it, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a dog fight to the very end.
Ryan Bronninger, Jason Howell, back and forth and on some 5-stars here on Recruiting Country presented by American Momentum Bank. Continuing that 5-star conversation here in the state of Texas, John Meredith, a guy that you've covered extensively there in the DFW Metroplex. Now he has the decision date. He is listed a final 3 of Texas A&M, Texas, and Alabama. It's a final 2. It's the Aggies or the Longhorns. Again, this one, but between he and Josh Dobson, the waves of momentum have been up and down throughout May and June, and as we get into the thick of summer and a decision date upcoming. It feels like it's Texas, but man, with the way this thing has seesawed back and forth, we probably won't know until right up until decision day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I tend to feel like Texas has kind of surged back to the front after his official visit there in Austin. A&M, man, they went all in. They went hard in the paint there, and still are. Don't let the past tense confuse you. But yeah, A&M, they got him on campus for his official visit, and they had some ground to make up there. And coming off that trip, there was a real surge of momentum, and then they get him back on campus when North Crowley goes and competes in the 7-on-7 tournament. And it's not a typical like camp or recruiting trip or anything like that, but you got the coaches around, you got competition. It's a good time, and it's a good opportunity for A&M to continue to make some moves, and they did. But coming off the Texas visit, it seems to be like things are trending back that way. We'll see what happens on Friday when he announces. But like you said, he's got Alabama in there, but this is one we saw coming down to in-state battle, and right now I tend to lean towards Texas and just kind of what they got cooking there with him.
Another 5-star on Mike Elko's want list is wide receiver Eric McFarland, standout out of IMG Academy, kind of a perfect blend of KC Concepcion and Mario Craver all in one. Jason, he is nearing probably an end of the summer decision. I think he has a date, correct?
June 28th.
June 28th. So we're rolling up again on a decision date for Eric McFarland. Where do you sit for the 5-star receiver out of IMG?
As far as all these guys, he may be the one I feel the best about A&M's chances. When he visited, we thought there was a chance he might not leave College Station uncommitted. That didn't happen. He wanted to take his, I think he had a official to Florida. And, now he's deciding between A&M, Florida, and Georgia. And I continue to hear great things about what A&M's done there, the vision they've painted. They had him on campus a number of times this spring and in the fall. I mean, he got to see that vision. They've been talking about, Mario Craver and what a dynamic piece to the puzzle that he is, and how Eric can fit that mold, and I think it's really resonated with him over the last several months. So I tend to feel pretty strong there. When you have competition like Georgia and Florida, it's hard to completely count them out. But right now, I'm feeling pretty good about what we're hearing from the relationships to just the way he feels like he'll be utilized, and to just what he brings to the table and what A&M's shown in that offense.
Yeah, over the course of, I think probably since we've spoke to you last on Recruiting Country, the Aggies have received 2 commitments. Trey Haddad, a wide receiver out of Cleveland, Ohio. It's a kid with incredible football lineage and DNA. And I actually went back and looked at the last 10 years of wide receiver recruiting at Texas A&M. It has been the best. The end of the Kevin Sumlin era and then the duration of the Jimbo Fisher era. Not a lot of hits, but what we know about the way this receiving staff looks right now, what Derek Miller and his group of personnel department staff have done, it seems as though it's in the best position that it's been in quite some time in terms of its well-rounded nature, the overall talent in it. So when they go out and they recruit a guy and they win over Louisville, Michigan State, and West Virginia, to me, that's not going, oh, what are they doing? It goes, oh, they must like these guys that do their homework the way they have, they must really like this kid.
Yeah, and he brings a very well-rounded skill set to the table. When we talked, he's like, I'm going to slot. I can go outside. He brings some quickness to the table, and he can get over the top. He was an excellent route runner, like you said. You have the NFL heritage on both mom and dad's side. So his older brother's a defensive back at Iowa right now, and so they sitting around the dinner table at the Haddad household is man, it is football heaven. It's he's grown up in the game, and it's easy to see what A&M saw right there. He comes from a storied program in Cleveland, and just like I said, brings a well-rounded skill set, and you know he's going to be a strong culture guy in the locker room.
Yeah, and what A&M has done at receiver, you look at the 2026 class, and then they've got Jaden Upshaw already committed here in 27. They're obviously still in on Damani Warren, a guy we haven't talked about, big-bodied receiver, more of a Isaiah Horton body type out of Las Vegas. Eric McFarland, the do-it-all playmaker, inside, outside returner, 5-star. They don't need to index on players that they don't think can make an impact. Like, there was no reason for them to just go take Haddad for no reason. There's a reason for this. Like, they've got real talent at the position currently. They're recruiting real talent, and they still thought it was a need for them to go take a player like this. To me, understanding how Elko operates, that says a lot about the kid. That says enough about the kid to me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, man.
And then
absolutely,
the other addition was from down under. For the first time ever in my career as an analyst, I did a phone interview with a kid in the Doha airport. I wasn't in the Doha airport. He was, but Jamie Sidebottom. And really fascinating story. Had never been to America until he visited Texas A&M, gets a scholarship and accepts it. And again, unique. I've never tried to get or been as fruitless of trying to get information on a recruit as I was with Jamie Sidebottom, because it's an Australian rules and rugby background, very little American football. So super interesting, but nobody second guesses you taking Aussie punters anymore.
Absolutely not. When they come from Pro Cricket Australia, they've been tested, and they have verified stats that come, that go back years. They've helped place kickers and punters and all levels of college football for several years now, and Sidebottom is the latest and greatest. I'd be honest, I'm kind of looking forward to Olin's first column on
Don't do that. Don't do that. We've been professional on this show today. Don't do that. All right, Jason, we're up against the break. I appreciate your time. We're going to get Kay in here to continue the recruiting country talk, but we're going to switch from football to volleyball. But Jason, appreciate your time. Stay on tap, stay on the lookout. A&M on the verge of closing out some big time recruitments here at the end of the summer. When we come back, we'll talk to Kay Naegeli here in studio on TexAgs Live. We continue the show here on a Wednesday morning, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Everybody, David Nunya here, TexAgs Live, here with Sheldon and Danny Shelley of Aggieland Hydration. Sheldon, I want to start off with you. What is Aggieland Hydration, and who do you serve?
So we're a mobile IV company. We serve the Bryan College Station area, and we are licensed under our medical director to work anywhere in the state of Texas, but given the name, we're focused on the Bryan College Station area.
Danny, how do appointments work?
So when a client calls in, they can call into our main line, or we have an online booking process. We get a quick little bit of information, name, date of birth, the address of where we're going to go, kind of what's going on. We give that information over to our nurse, and usually they can arrive within 30 minutes to an hour.
Danny, who's this geared towards? Is it more for sick people, athletes, people who've been partying? Who is this for?
All the above.
Okay.
And it just really depends on what you're getting after. Sheldon travels a lot, so I give him an IV once a week. Some people get it just as needed, like when they're sick or if they've been working, in the yard all weekend, if they just had a big workout, stuff like that.
And all right, Sheldon, help me out. Why do I not just drink a bunch of water or juice? Like, why go the IV route?
Yeah, so drinking water orally, you don't absorb it all. So getting a liter of fluids into your bloodstream directly, you feel the results better. And it's equivalent to drinking about almost 2.5 gallons of water.
All right, that's Aggieland Hydration. How do people check you out?
Then go to our website at aggielandhydrationandinjectables.com.
Or you can call them up at 979-217-1561. It is Aggieland Hydration.
For the first time, I believe, ever, part of recruiting country will switch from football to volleyball, and for good reason. Joining me inside the studio is Kay Naegeli inside the Rollo Insurance Studios. I'm Ryan Bronner. This is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, and Miss Kay Naegeli is here to talk to us about the recruiting efforts of Jamie Morrison, who, for those of you listening that are unfamiliar with the volleyball recruiting calendar, they have just been able to, I guess, open up recruiting for the class of 28.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he is off to a flying start.
He is, yeah. And the way volleyball recruiting works is it's all really fast-paced. And the boys that work at this office were giving me a little bit of crap, and they're like, "How
you can
fast?"
name their names.
Luke Evangelist, in specific, I'll call out. I've been my bestie and coworker for like going on 4 years now, so I'll call him out. He was like, "You said the class would be done on Monday." Da 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 da. I'm like, "Chill, okay? It works fast." Maybe not that fast, but...
And Jamie Morrison's got a little bit of intrigue and drama.
For sure.
I didn't know that you couldn't tweet the same thing 3 times in a day.
I didn't either.
And so this is going to be a We Learned Wednesday edition on B Team. We learned that today, or yesterday, because he tried to announce 3 commitments the same way, and Twitter wouldn't let him. But
he did.
What can you tell us about the girl that they have landed publicly so far? And then is there any insight you can bring to what's still left out there in terms of the silent commitments?
Yeah, so Maya Mortensen committed last night about 11 o'clock. I was asleep by then, so we had everything activated
You've really
this morning.
grown up.
Right? I know, yeah. It was
A few years ago, you'd have been live and ready for that one, right?
Right.
Hitting send on the story from Chimmy's.
Oh, gosh, yeah, I've grown up since then. Yeah, she's from Utah. She plays at Corner Canyon High School, a really stout college program. They actually won the state title in Utah this year. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see some of her highlights. These are actually from the state title match. And as you can see, she stands out on that court, right? She's 6'4". She's playing middle right there. And she really has the ability to do it all. A&M really likes what they projected her as a middle or playing as a pin player. She was at A&M's camp this past Friday. So I actually got to watch her in person. Got to see her along with a bunch of other prospects that they have. She is a USA U17 national team selection, which means you're one of the best of the best in the country. And ultimately, she is the first one to come off the board. And then, yeah, like Jamie tweeted, there are 2 more waiting in the wings.
You don't have to give names.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know names, but what can we expect in terms of, I guess, echelon of commits?
For sure.
Echelon of player.
Someone asked me on the boards yesterday, Kay, if you were to rank 1 through 10 of where this class ranks, in your opinion already, where would you be? And I said a 9.7. So if that doesn't give you any excitement about what is to come, I can tell you right now, some great, great players that they have.
Do you know timelines of when we're going to get public announcements?
Maybe today. This stuff is so fluid. It's kind of just when the girl, it's when the girl feels like they want to announce. This stuff can be really fluid, but yeah, I thought it was really cool that Jamie is tweeting like, didn't know you could tweet the same thing in 3 days. And I was like, maybe you should just tweet a GIF of a national championship trophy or something as the third one. But yeah, so far a really exciting class, and it's crazy how quickly this stuff goes, because it is day 3 of this window being open, and they have 3
And how many girls will he take in a class?
Probably 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So they could be done today.
Just a snap of a finger.
Yes.
And then in terms of how he's built his roster, I've talked to Coach Morrison. He wants to rely on recruiting as the lifeblood of the program.
For sure.
Like girls like Maya Mortensen. As he constructs this roster, like what are the areas of need positionally in this 28 class?
So yeah, Maya Mortensen projects as a middle, so they may not play her there. The 2 transfers they brought in, Kaya Castle and Eliza Sharp, will play in the middle this year, and they are younger players, so it's kind of looking at that once they develop in the program, they're seniors, this is when this incoming class will be coming in. So kind of perfect timing to really get, and Jamie Morrison has a known history of developing middles in specific. He has worked with several Nebraska players through the USA ranks, and they always talk about just how good of a coach he is when it comes to middles and developing them, not just as middles or as blockers, but as just being an all-around volleyball player. So he has a great history there. Really excited what he can do with Mortensen once she gets on campus.
Well, in addition to all the other things that you do around here, you've taken the mantle as our women's sports coverage like ace. And along with what Jamie Morrison has done on the high school recruiting trail, Trisha Ford also navigating the softball transfer portal. What can you tell us about what they've added and what they're continuing to look at?
Yeah, 2 Maddies are already in the boat, Maddie Azua and Maddox. She goes by Maddie McKee. McKee is from LSU. She was kind of a role player there, but she's played in 100 games at LSU, and that's SEC experience that you love to have on your team no matter what. As for Azua, great pitcher. They really needed to prioritize a arm, and they went and got a lefty who they have seen over the years. Her numbers are really good. She was a Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year, very highly coveted by every program in Texas, meaning Texas Tech and Texas, who just competed for a national championship. So that is a huge win on that front.
And where else is she looking to fill holes?
Yeah, looking to fill holes. Definitely trying to get a couple more players you can add to the lineup, and then probably another arm. With the exit of Kate Munnerlin, you definitely want to have some depth in the bullpen. And Taylor Pinnell is a senior. Grace Sparks is a senior. So you're losing some arms there. So definitely looking for depth there to back up Sydney Peters and Sydney Lesentine.
I appreciate your time, Kay. What do you think Steve Naegeli is doing right now?
Probably sitting on his couch, maybe having some coffee.
Is he watching the show?
Maybe, I don't know. I didn't
Shout
tell
out
him I was
Steve
coming
Naegeli,
up
King
today.
Steve. Like, in case y'all don't know, I have everybody that meets Kay's dad has a tremendous amount of respect for him. An awesome dude that is living the life that every man would love to live. He
may be at the pool by now. I don't know.
He's married, had kids. They're all successful. Your youngest sister is at A&M right now?
She's not anymore, no.
No, okay.
But yeah.
But older brother, hugely successful. Obviously, you've carved out your own niche. And the guy's retired. And he just does whatever he wants. And you follow him on social media, and he's like, I don't feel like mowing this grass today. I'm just going to set the lawn on fire. It's the best thing ever.
Gosh. He may clip this and put it on his social
He should.
media.
He should. Everybody should be following Steve Naegeli because, Kate, this is a great guy for you to model your game after, okay? I'm telling you, like if you could get to a point in your life where Steve Naegeli's at, you have it made. I just on Instagram in the middle of the day, like it's like a Tuesday, and he's out fishing.
Yeah, that's what he does. He loves fishing, loves hunting, loves burning grass.
And loves A&M sports.
He does love A&M sports as well.
Your mom's a saint for dealing with him. All right, Kate, appreciate you stopping in, updating us
Of course.
on women's basketball. When we come back, Kendall Rogers from Omaha, talking all things College World Series and the landscape of college baseball and his continued thoughts on Barry Enright and what Michael Early has done in the transfer portal. We're closing the show here on a Wednesday morning. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. A little bit of breaking news here during the commercial break. Legendary Texas A&M track coach Pat Henry has announced his retirement after a 38-year career at the Division I level. The Aggie headman since 2004. He's 74 years old and has won 10 of his NCAA titles at Texas A&M. Again, Pat Henry announces his retirement just in that commercial break, a statement that he gave to TexAgs ahead of a press conference today. As of today, June 17th, I will retire as the head track and field coach here at Texas A&M. I want to thank you for your support. In my 22 years here at Texas A&M, we have been blessed. We have won 10 national championships and an additional 19 top 4 finishes. I've had great staffs who have been dedicated to our athlete success in and out of the classroom. I want to thank Trev Alberts and his staff for their care and support of the program. Wow. This is something that I think a lot of folks here locally may have expected, but still a massive piece of news here at Texas A&M and in the track and field community, of which I don't know much about, to be honest. But when you have the career full of hardware that Pat Henry does, which is staggering, the amount of championships that he's won as a head track and field coach, time waits for no man. And he decided to call it quits, and I hope he enjoys every second of his retirement. Coaches that are wired the way that he's wired, I always wonder how much enjoyment he will have out of not going to work every day. But it is a well-deserved and well-earned break, a career that should be celebrated for all time and will go down in the annals of Texas A&M sports history as perhaps the greatest coach this school has ever seen, regardless of sports. So congratulations to Coach Henry from us here at TexAgs on a simply remarkable career. To look through the years in which he's won indoor and outdoor championships, it would take me over a minute to rattle off all these seasons between men and the women. It will be a track and field coaching job that will be highly desirable, given the success that Pat Henry's had, given the status of the program in which he helped to elevate it to. And I have no idea which way Trev Alberts will go to fill this vacancy, if they will make an in-house hire or they will perform a national search. But I can almost guarantee you that they will receive phone calls from across the country about what has to be one of the top track and field coaching opportunities in the country. We are awaiting Kendall Rogers still.
He voicemail 4 times. So
voicemail 4 times. So maybe Kendall is not available this morning after probably a late night at Charles Schwab Field there in Omaha. Do we have any reaction coming in, Ashley Munson in the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, to Coach Henry's retirement?
Yeah.
A native of Albuquerque like yourself.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. I just saw that he's from Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is where I was born. I moved to Texas my freshman year in high school, so I thought that was really, really cool that he's from there. So, and he actually graduated from Del Norte High School, so I didn't live too far away from that high school. So, really, really cool.
Any reaction?
Looks like somebody said, well, DW-BTTS said Pat Henry with a goat emoji, which is
yes, short, simple, but accurate. And I will be really clued into a track and field coaching search that I normally would have just gone completely under my radar or off my radar, given kind of how all of my jobs have coalesced here in the month of June. But I will definitely be checking in. I would imagine Billy Lucci will have some insights on that job because of, again, the status of the program that Pat Henry has elevated Texas A&M track and field to. All right, so without Kendall, I'm going to have to do some tap dancing here, Cade Bickham, which is something that
we're professionals.
We are professionals. Well, let's
pump the brakes. We'll pump the brakes on that. Yeah.
You know, we are 2/3 of the B team, which that is an hour-long tap dance essentially every day.
And pretty much, yeah.
If you've seen the rundowns for the B team, they're literally maybe 5 or 6 lines long. We're just topic titles, and we just go and we start speaking. So
the Richard Zane rundowns were quite detailed.
Were they really?
Yeah,
I'm disappointed in that.
He gave us bullet points and all that. Yeah, he was really in depth with it.
Which makes Reese Nygren's performance on that show even more disappointing, right?
So, I guess so. I guess that's one way to interpret it. Yeah.
But I can recap what Texas A&M baseball has done in the portal. If you want to learn more about Pat Henry's retirement, there is a story up right now on TexAgs.com, kind of rehashing his incredible career, also with a graphic that says thank you.
And there's a press conference that's going to be coming soon, so tune in for that as well.
Okay, press conference upcoming, probably right once we get off air here in about 15 minutes. Don't forget, Kaylee Dreyer, Sydney Clevenger, the final segment of the show. What are they calling that now again, Kate? I always forget.
In case you missed it.
In case you missed it, where we are going to be drinking coconut milk.
Coconut water.
Coconut water, and it's called Good Nut. I'm not making this up. David Nuno, I want to apologize beforehand. You run a professional show. What we do in the afternoon is a non-professional program. Very different. David Nuno, professional show. B-team, non-professional program. Although, Cade, we did draw some lines yesterday.
We tried.
We tried to have some standards. The B-team chat, Ashley, is very different than the TexAgs live chat. And there's good reason for that. It's because of the quality and the professionalism of each show. But there are some of the similar names that are in the TexAgs live chat are also in the B-team chat. It's
far more unhinged.
Yes, it's the way more unhinged version of themselves. Some of the things that come across our chat are completely over the line, and dadgummit, Cade, we're stopping it. If you want us to read your off-color humor on our program at 4 o'clock on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, you're going to have to super chat it because we are for sale on that show. But on this show, we're buttoned up and professional. All right, really quickly, wanted to go back through and recap what Texas A&M has done in the baseball transfer portal up to this point. For those of you unaware, you can keep up to date with the latest in Michael Early's pursuits in the transfer portal via our transfer portal tracker on texags.com/premium. Right now, the Aggies are sitting at 5 announced commits. There is 1 unannounced commit that we do anticipate going public at some point here in the near future. Right now, though, it is Jack Bell, an infielder that started his career at Texas A&M, played 2 years at TCU, and is returning to Aggie land. It is Lane Arroyos, a first baseman / outfielder, another native Texan, coming back home for his final season of college baseball. Right-handed pitcher Johnny Nuanez out of Wichita State. Right-handed pitcher Jace Evangelista out of UNLV. And catcher / outfielder and the star of the transfer portal so far, the transfer portal haul so far, Nate Savoy. I will tell you guys, even if you do not have access to premium, that Texas A&M just wrapped up a visit with outfielder Sawyer Solitaria, one of the top players in the transfer portal out of Kent State. He's 6'5", he's 225 pounds. He has exit velocities in the Gavin Grahovic and Caden Sorrell range that would qualify as another massive addition if the Aggies are able to close him out. He also has a trip planned to Tennessee. So the Aggies all, I'm sure, are wrapping up that visit this morning with the goal of not letting him leave campus without a verbal commitment. But again, 5 commitments in the boat for Michael Early in this transfer portal haul. We do expect plenty more, especially on the pitcher's mound. Barry Enright arrived late last night. Today is his first full day on the job as a permanent resident of Bryan College Station. He and his family arrived again late last night, and so we will see how quickly Coach Enright can make an impact. He's already got 2 pitchers committed without, I don't think he's met either one of them face-to-face yet. So he will be meeting some of the transfer portal pitchers face-to-face here in today and in the coming days. So plugging our transfer portal tracker, which is well on its way to surpassing last year's transfer portal tracker. In 19 days, we are almost at 900,000 views on that and over 4,000 replies. Baseball matters here. Baseball really matters, and a lot of people have their eyeballs on that thread, whether they're wearing maroon and white or perhaps they're wearing other colors in the SEC. and perhaps their job is to compete against Texas A&M on the field, and they are monitoring what we're doing on TexAgs in our transfer portal tracker. All right, with that, we will go to a commercial break. We come back, we are drinking coconut water. I am not looking forward to this. We're closing the show. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. All right, let's get this over with. This is Sydney Clevenger and Kaylee Dreyer, two of my favorite people, here to ruin my day with their segment. Not their segment, it's not going to ruin my day. This is, in case you missed it, it's their segment every week, where last week we talked about Good Nut. This is a coconut water sponsored by Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you guys just set the table here for us, Sid. And this is going to be bad for Kaylee, who has a very elementary school palate.
Do you want to start off with what Good Nut is?
So Kate has this tweet that, Kate, there. So basically Tom Brady launched this new coconut water and it has no artificial sugars. So it's supposed to be good for you. I believe the coconuts are from Vietnam, which is where the major bulk of coconuts come from, actually.
So this is good quality stuff. And obviously we have all 3 flavors here to try. We're going to start with original, so just plain coconut water, and then sparkling, and we'll finish off with chocolate. And yeah, the coconuts are from Vietnam, so it's good.
Y'all are really, okay, last segment we said we're drawing a line on professionalism, and they're really pushing it. This does feel like a B team bit. I'm glad y'all are here to do this on TexAgs Live.
I'm glad to be here.
So we're starting with original, which is
Original,
in this
it's in the pink cup.
What are we gonna do? Hold on, what are we gonna do if Kaylee barfs?
I'm not going to bar or cut to a break.
Yeah, you will spit this out. All right, here we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's not bad.
It's all right.
It kind of has, tastes like milk.
It kind of tastes like cereal milk.
It does taste like cereal milk.
After you eat the
Yeah,
cereal.
it does, but I don't know.
It's really sweet.
It is sweeter than you think it's going to be. And it does taste like I just had my Fruity Pebbles and I'm 10 years old and I'm drinking the milk.
Interesting to drink. Like, I don't think I could drink a whole can.
Yeah, it's really sweet, but that's weird because there's no added
That was good.
sugar. Yeah.
I'm a fan of that. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm going to buy a case of it, but if I had, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, not bad.
It's also only sold on GoPuff, so
had to have it delivered here yesterday.
GoPuff is this, it's like an eBay sort of
It's
for
a
groceries.
It's a delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and this one is sparkling. So
Sparkling.
I think this is going to be the worst one.
I'm scared.
I don't know.
Sparkling coconut water. Cheers, ladies.
Cheers. I like that one a lot better than the original.
No way.
I think I like that one better too.
It's less sweet.
It's like fermented, which of course y'all would enjoy more than I would.
It doesn't taste like, it doesn't taste as
Do you know what
artificial.
fermented means? That's how they make alcohol.
Because it's like alcohol. Yeah, I got that.
Sid, who just turned 21.
Yes, I
High
did.
five. Congratulations.
Almost a month ago, but I'm still celebrating.
Yeah, Sid's doing the birthday month thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kaylee is too old to participate in those kind of things anymore.
Sadly am.
Yeah, you're not old. You're 23.
No, yeah.
Still a child.
Yeah.
Richard's about to turn 30 this year.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy?
We've been making fun of all of them.
I won't talk about my birthday that I've got this summer.
Oh.
Whoa!
I hope our audience didn't hear that.
There's no way they heard that, but that was Richard. You got our sponsor pulled for B Team for yelling that exact word on air.
Whoa.
I don't know that Richard's F-bomb on B Team got the sponsorship pulled. It's either what he did or what Reese did when Reese filled in. Reese's effort.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Reese's. I don't know. Like our previous sponsor never emailed and said, "Hey, we're pulling this because of this," but it all felt like the timing was too perfect for it not to be. All right, chocolate. This is the one that
I'm excited.
Yeah, Sid was excited for this.
Looks
one.
like chocolate milk. It says it has cream.
Creamer, coconut creamer in it.
So this is going to be delicious.
We'll see.
Is there any protein in this?
It's 110 calories. This
less
for a
than
can?
1 gram of
In a can?
protein.
The chocolate one is.
There's a gram of protein?
Less than 1.
Oh, so this is really not a lot of nutritional value here, but we'll just see if it passes the vibe check. All right, here we go. Cheers, ladies.
It tastes
I like
chocolate
it.
milk.
It tastes like chocolate milk.
See, I think
It tastes like the fake chocolate milk.
that's exactly right.
Like Yoo-hoo.
It's like a little Yoo-hoo-y.
Yes.
All right, that wasn't bad. Pretty good nut.
You're right.
All right,
Okay.
Richard hosting the show tomorrow. Hopefully he doesn't drop any F-bombs on air. Thanks for tuning in here on a Wednesday morning edition of TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.